Cedar Radar. I'm joined by Brendan, Jacob, and Paul for our post-game episode here. We're going to talk about Michigan State beating Samford at home. First off, Jaden Akins had a career-high 25 points tonight. I'll talk about that. What do you think?
Yeah, I thought he played well. He shot the ball well, contributed in a couple of different ways. And he hit some clutch shots. Not only was it 25 points, but he hit some couple of clutch threes and back-to-back. So I thought he delivered in the big moments. I still need to see it consistently from him to show up in a big game. Kansas game was probably his worst of the season. So still some things to prove for Jaden Akins to be that go-to scorer and for me to be confident in him to be that go-to scorer. But I like what I saw tonight.
Yeah, I have to go. Again, consistency is the key here. 25 points to everything against a team like Samford. All respect to them. That's to be taken with a bit of grain of salt. This isn't Purdue. This isn't Michigan or Illinois or any of the other important teams to beat in the Big Ten. But nonetheless, a career high is a career high, and that's probably the biggest plus from tonight, I'd say, for MSU. He had 13 points in like a 4-minute span during that big run at the end of the first half. He just took over the game, which allowed MSU to surge ahead, and they kind of held on from that point on. But yeah, big day for him.
Yeah, I believe he also had 2 back-to-back threes in the second half that kind of sparked the run. I think Samford had gotten it down to 5 points, and then he had 2 back-to-back threes, and then I think another layup after that, which really pushed the lead out, I think, to double digits again. And that was really critical because it was getting a little dicey there towards the middle of the second half.
Exactly what you said, Izzo said in his post-game. This team needs to work on their consistency, and I think that is a key point for Jaden Akins specifically. Like you said, going 2 points and 13 points, now 25 points. Can he continue to keep kind of that level, or will he drop back down like we saw against Kansas? So we something to watch for.
They definitely needed him tonight because there wasn't a lot of other real strong contributors. I mean, for a while, and I'd have to look through, for a while Zapata was the second leading scorer for a big chunk of that game, and he did it very quietly.
Yeah.
So it really was Jaden and then a lot of other guys struggled from the field. So we need 1 or 2 other guys to step up.
I mean, I think we talked about this in our last post game, but he should be the guy that is up there every single game because he is so experienced.
They need him to be.
Yeah.
Like he's the senior of this team. He's the leader.
Yeah.
I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No,
But that's what he needs to be. He needs to be a guy who, when some guys are having an off night, you need 20 points from him, and he provided that.
Yeah. Okay. Other than Jaden Akins, do any of you have a player of the game?
Jace Richardson again.
Yeah.
I mean, I think what do you have? 12.
12.
He's normal efficiency, 4 for 6 from the field, 1 for 2 on threes, 3 free throws, 3 makes. He had 4 steals as well. So like again, he had that ankle thing at the end. Based on what Izzo said, it doesn't appear to be anything severe. Hopefully he's back for the Maui. But again, the good part is here, especially with that injury, they have 6 days before their next game. So fair chance he'll be back. We'll see, but he's one of those guys, just watching him, like, you better appreciate him while he's here because he's probably here 1-2 years max.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to point out a player, but more so a stat. Michigan State had 13 steals tonight.
Yeah.
Samford had 7, and Samford's a team that presses a lot, so you might assume that they're going to have a lot of steals. But Michigan State had 13 steals compared to Samford's 7. Hallman had 6, Richardson had 4, so those 2 combined for 10 alone. So I thought Michigan State was really good defensively at forcing those turnovers. Samford 19 turnovers. Obviously some defensive things to clean up, like second half Samford had 47 points. That's simply too many, unacceptable. Got to get better there, but in terms of strictly steals, I thought Michigan State did good in that category tonight.
Samford holding them to 75 points isn't really anything. Like 75 isn't the greatest number in college basketball. This team came in, I believe, 6th in all Division I in terms of scoring at about 97 a game, and 2 of those games are against non-D1 schools. So tip your scales a little bit. Small sample size, tip your scales, but still, this team puts up points. They took Kansas to the brink in the NCAA tournament last year. They gave MSU a real nice run for their money today. I think for the most part, defensively, obviously 47 second half, that's a big blemish. But 75 total, I think that's an okay game.
And Izzo clearly has a lot of respect for this team. I expected him to be a little more crabby in the press conference. He was actually upbeat. Quite honestly, he spoke very highly of the team and the difficult preparation they had to prepare for that press. He said they pressed in like 9 different ways. And so I think holding to that amount of points is reasonably respectable. The thing that I was most puzzled with is the distribution of minutes between Trey Holloman and Fears. Fears got pulled pretty quickly. He only played 7 minutes in the first half, 6 in the second. Trey Holloman had almost twice as much time as he did. and there wasn't really a very obvious reason as to why. I mean, Jeremy had a little bit of trouble with turnovers right off the bat, but he was just out of sync or
All of
something.
them didn't exactly handle the ball.
He didn't.
He had 9 assists, but he had 5 turnovers, so he made up for it with the steals, but still.
And Trey was, I think, 1 for 9 from 3, which were the only shots from the field that he took. And he got kind of hung out to dry a couple times in late shot clock situations, but so that was a little bit odd. But I think Izzo's looking forward to getting back to kind of a more normal Power 5 lineup where you have, not playing basically small ball all the time and trying to squeeze your bigs into it and lining up with weird matchups. So that'll be one of the other benefits of going to Maui, get a more traditional look from the power.
Samford's one of those teams. A lot of teams are like the coach of Samford. He didn't say it, but he kind of did. He was like, we had difficulty finding a game like this. They've won the SoCon regular season title back-to-back years. He didn't say it outright, but you can read between the lines. Like, big teams are scared to play Samford. Izzo, probably for the reason they won back-to-back regular season titles, probably put them on the schedule. Also with the fact that they're unusual and they're going to really make you work. But winning by 8 probably isn't up to par for MSU standards, but this isn't exactly, this isn't a disastrous result.
A win's a win.
A win is a win.
So it's
I
okay.
spoke with Booker after the game, and he talked about how kind of that second lineup brought some more confidence into the game when they came in. He talked about how hitting that 3 kind of opened things up for them. And I think a little bit of that goes into how Trey Hallman played. I felt like he brought a lot of energy. He wanted to play fast, kind of push against that press a little bit. And although I don't think that's exactly why he played more minutes than Fears, I do think that that's a positive in his game tonight. As we were talking about his stats that just came to mind. Anything that you think Michigan State needs to clean up before they go to Maui? There's some good teams in Maui that they'll be facing. So time difference, all those things in play as well.
It's the slow starts. And Tony Carr talks about coming right out the gate with energy. They didn't do that tonight. They were down, 21-8?
13, 21.
They were down 13 points, went on that big run at the end of that first half there. So it's really the slow starts. And that's like 3 straight games where they've not started good. At least offensively, Kansas played well.
They weren't down a lot earlier in Kansas, but they couldn't hit anything. But
Yeah,
they were
so-
down 12 to Bowling Green, 13 today.
Yeah, so slow starts offensively at the very least, even defensively, especially the past 2 games. So that's one thing that needs to be cleaned up. Because if you get off to a slow start against some of these teams in Maui, UConn, Auburn, even the first game against Colorado, they might not be able to work their way back.
If you're down 21-18, like there's a chance they play UConn day 2 of Maui. If you're down 21-8, game's over. Like you're just not working your way back from that. So that's obvious. I'm sure they know that more than anyone. They have to come out firing, and they haven't done that. So again, they have 6 days to work on it before they head to Hawaii.
I think going back to that point that Booker made, it shouldn't be on the second string guys to come in and bring that energy. It should already be there. So something that maybe was a positive for this game might be something that definitely needs to be cleaned up before they go on the rest of the season. Paul, did you have something?
Just need to shoot better from deep. I mean, that's kind of obvious with the coming in. They were in ranked 350th in 3-point percentage. So
According to NCAA, dead last. Division One.
even worse than I thought.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Goodness.
So there's only one way to go, and it's up.
Yeah.
I mean,
It went up a little bit today, right? What did we end up with?
And the game of 29% from 3.
And that's better than that is above 20%, which is what they came in with. So baby steps, I guess.
I mean, I expect them to get better throughout the year. It's a little bit of an anomaly at the beginning of the year. It might be in their head a little bit because, again, once Booker hit that 3, you can feel the energy kind of come back. And then they shot like 12 out of
They started
16.
0 for 9, ended 7 for 24. You do the math there, that's a 7 for 15 rate after that slow start. So,
Much better.
continues. That's something.
Yeah.
Anything else that you want to add?
This team will get tested next week or so in Maui, so we'll see what they're made of.
All right, thanks for tuning in. Check out Spartans Illustrated for more basketball coverage and a little more football. Hopefully, a little bit more football than just review records, but we'll see. And subscribe to Cedar Radar wherever you listen to podcasts. Bye.
Good.
Bye.